Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Finance, for laying this budget as directed by the Constitution. First of all, Madam Speaker, I will take us to last year's budget because there are major concerns in this budget. So before I draw our attention to the concerns, I will take us to what this Honorable Minister told us last year in this August House. And with your permission, Madam Speaker, I will quote. On the 14th of December, the Honorable Speaker said that as we bid farewell to the 2018 fiscal year, fiscal consolidation continued to be our main objective in order to restore macroeconomic stability. Madam Speaker, he said the government of the Gambia, with the assistance of the development partners, launched a new National Development Plan, 2018 to 2021. And this was followed by a successful international donor conference, Madam Speaker, held in Brussels, which led to 1.7 billion pledged by these development partners for the successful implementation of the National Development Plan. Madam Speaker, honorable colleagues, Madam Speaker, one of the primary purposes of budgeting is to provide control over the revenues and expenditures of a government. The budget is thus a very important part of maintaining control of government finances and are a means of achieving the financial reporting objectives of accountability. Madam Speaker, out of those pledges, I want the Honorable Minister to tell us how much was received, and if nothing was received, why? Madam Speaker, I do not want to assume that it is because of fiscal indiscipline. That was why we've not received any of those funds. Because we all know, Madam Speaker, the Honorable Minister is very competent and he's very capable. Why are we failing, Madam Speaker, in our financial management? That is a major concern, Madam Speaker. And also, Madam Speaker, I would like to look. I don't want to take much time of this August Assembly because, like you said, we have Friday where we can share all this and distribute the budget accordingly. But before that, Madam Speaker, we have to be well prepared. We need to know where to cut and where to paste, Madam Speaker, because this budget must reflect the reality on the ground. Madam Speaker, we are a poor country. What I have seen being spent, I would call unnecessary. Madam Speaker, first of all, before I go to our debt analysis, I will go to the different ministries, Madam Speaker. For example, Ministry of Health. We all want a good health, Madam Speaker, for everybody, especially for the young and for the women. Madam Speaker, looking at the budget of the Ministry of Health, it is sad to say that, yes, we have achieved double digits, 11.4%, but I will not give them an applaud, Madam Speaker, because from that 11.4%, 97% goes to recurring expenses. Only 2.8% goes to development. Madam Speaker, as a developing nation, we should focus more on what develops our country. What develops our country other than better health for our children and the people of this country? Madam Speaker, if we look at the OC budget line under the Ministry of Health, my honorable colleague from Latikunda Sabije mentioned, Madam Speaker, for travel expenses, the health department was given 4 million. They spent 8 8.6 million, which is 223%. Madam Speaker, I don't even want to laugh because it is not a laughing matter. And they allocated them 120 million for drugs, dressing, and medical supplies. They only spent 36. The reason they gave us was because they said there was not sufficient fund to be disbursed. Madam Speaker, there is no fund to be disbursed for drugs, dressing, and medical supplies, but there are funds to be disbursed for travel expenses. Is it for our pockets, or is it for the needs of this country, Madam Speaker? I've heard people praising the Minister of Health that he travels economy. Madam Speaker, he can travel by cart for all we care, as long as our citizens are well taken care of when they are in need. Madam Speaker, we've seen how many women dying. In September alone, I counted over 8 women in Banjul died of childbirth, Madam Speaker, and this is not an exaggeration. This is the number that I am aware of. I'm not talking about other hospitals. I'm talking about the vicinity that I know. Let alone, we are 58 in number. If we all bring our numbers out, it will count to over hundreds, Madam Speaker. And we are thinking of travel expenses. Yes, the amount is only 8.8 million. But 8.8 million in our hospitals will take us a long way, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, for consultancy, 48 million was approved, and they managed to disburse 94%. Yet, in dressings, drugs, and medical supplies, only 30%. Madam Speaker, and they said other recurring charges. They said the budget has been disbursed. Electricity, I'm still under the Ministry of Health, had gone up significantly, Madam Speaker. And if I say significant, I mean significant. 1,599%. Is that not significant? That is more than significant. Madam Speaker, that is from 1.5 million to 25 million. Madam Speaker, yes, they said they had to settle areas of NAWEC. Is NAWEC more important than the health of our children? Madam Speaker, NAWEC is a state-owned enterprise. They should subsidize the energy supply of our hospitals to enable our children and our women to live. Madam Speaker, if we have that amount to give to NAWEC, I think we should have that amount for medical supplies. Our priorities need to be looked at. Madam Speaker, our citizens are important. We need to wake up and take care of them, Madam Speaker. That is very important. Madam Speaker, I think I will leave that of health for Friday. Madam Speaker, I will go to the office of the President, which is the highest office, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the office of the President has witnessed an increment in their budget from 640 to 701. Madam Speaker, is the President not our servant? We elected the President, Madam Speaker, to serve us. If there is need, Madam Speaker, he needs to cut down to accommodate others, Madam Speaker. That is what good leaders do. Madam Speaker, the Office of the President have proposed in their manpower budget to increase the number of advisors. Madam Speaker, we have seen ministries. I would think, if I may be brought to line, that the ministers should be the advisors of the President. The permanent secretaries are the technicians. They can do the technical work. The minister should be the advisors Madam Speaker, if the President is telling us that he needs more advisors, is he indicating that he doesn't need the ministers anymore? We need to look at that, Madam Speaker. The ministers need their jobs, and we need them too, but I don't think we need all these advisors, Madam Speaker. I think we should remove all that from the budget. Madam Speaker, foreign affairs. Madam Speaker, Gambia is a small country with less than 2 million people. We have more embassies than we can record in even the biggest countries in this world. Madam Speaker, and I saw the embassies increased in the last 2 years. Is it a matter of reward that we're creating these embassies? Madam Speaker, when I said that party leaders shouldn't sit at the cabinet, that was my concern. Party leaders have political interest. They would obviously want to reward their people. And I think that was the reason why these embassies were created unnecessarily, to reward their people and to give them something that otherwise they wouldn't have afforded in their lives, Madam Speaker. I am sorry to say. We need to reduce the embassies, Madam Speaker. We have an embassy in Brussels. We have an embassy in France, in Geneva, in Spain. Madam Speaker, even in those richest countries, if they have embassies at Brussels, which is the capital of Europe, do we need all these embassies in every country? Madam Speaker, meanwhile, our children are sitting on the floors in our schools. They are given books every 5 years. They are not given proper teachers. Madam Speaker, you go to their toilets, it is appalling. We would never send our children to those schools. Madam Speaker, let us be honest and fair to ourselves. We should try and protect the children of this country. If we don't take care of them, we are killing our nation, Madam Speaker. Those are the future of this country. Madam Speaker, I go to justice. Madam Speaker, it was this August Assembly that approved the National Human Rights Commission. Madam Speaker, that should be an independent body because we depend on them to act fairly and justly when it comes to human rights issues. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Justice is under the executive branch. And this commission should not be at the purview of the Ministry of Justice, Madam Speaker. We should ensure that this is removed as part of obeying of the rules of law and the respect of human rights, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I mentioned on my social media platform about an imam being paid. I receive insults, Madam Speaker, but do I care? What can insults do to me? Nothing. It will not reduce me to anything. I am serving my people and I serve the community, Madam Speaker. I think if even one imam is on the payroll of the government, all imams must be on the payroll of the government, and all priests or other religious leaders must also be. Madam Speaker, we should stand and remove that. And then I would go further and say, yes, I am a practicing Muslim. They can call me a kafir or whatever they wish, but I will speak my mind. With this idea of having these mosques in our public places, Madam Speaker, we should revisit them. We can have prayer places, Madam Speaker, for every Gambian who would wish to pray. I might want to pray, I might not want to. I might be a Christian, want to pray in my own quiet moment, go to the prayer room. I might be a Muslim, go to the prayer room. But we shouldn't have mosques in all these places, Madam Speaker. Let them call me whatever they want. I serve my community, not the selected few, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also looking at the budget of the Interior and the Defense. Madam Speaker, are we working to feed the army that is of no relevance to this country, Madam Speaker, than educate our young? The future of this country, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, at the office of the President, the state guards alone is 20 million to feed them. Madam Speaker, are they eating human beings or what? We should look at that and reduce it, Madam Speaker. I think the President should have sympathy for the people who voted for him, Madam Speaker, and allocate those monies to youth and sports. Madam Speaker, sports now is taken as a business. If you don't invest on it, Madam Speaker, you will never see the yield. Madam Speaker, the amount allocated to youth and sports is appalling. It is sickening, I would say. Madam Speaker, it is sad to say that we have forgotten our youths. Every country now is promoting sports. Madam Speaker, we've seen the lady that went to the Olympics. Nobody cares about her. We should promote her. The first Gambian to win a medal at an Olympics. Nothing has been given to her. Madam Speaker, we are receiving all the benefits in this world, and we are here to serve the people. Recently, we've been given some piece of land. I might be criticized to mention. Yes, we bought it. It was rightly done. We applied for it. Fine. But then as well, Madam Speaker, we should fight for the low-income earners to be allocated pieces of land, Madam Speaker. If they can't build it, they would have their children. At least that would be security for them. Madam Speaker, I think we should start advocating for that to be done. Madam Speaker, we've seen the private sector trying to at least build homes for people, and that needs to be applauded. Madam Speaker, we've seen the estates like the Dalabas. If it wasn't for some people like the Tafts, some people would never even have thought of owning a home. We should compliment them. Try and make things cheaper for them so that they can do what they can do better, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me go to agriculture. Madam Speaker, let us not be fooled by the amount given to agriculture. Again, it is only recurring expenses. Nothing on development, Madam Speaker, not much. Gambia, like I always say, we have the river run right across the country. Why should we depend on 3 months of rainfall, Madam Speaker? Water shouldn't be a problem. Not at all in this country, especially when it comes to agriculture. But Madam Speaker, we've left it at the mercy of 2 or 3 months of rain. And if the rain doesn't come, we are doomed. We've just had the Honorable Minister, I think, said because of the poor rains? I think he mentioned because of the poor rains. Why should we depend on the rain? Let us invest more on irrigation so that our poor farmers can have a year-round agriculture and feed us. If we are well fed, we will have better health, Madam Speaker, and that way our children can perform more in school. Madam Speaker, I will not even go to education because I will leave that for Friday. We have signed protocols that we need to adhere to. And if we are telling ourselves that there is no money to ensure that we fulfill our international obligations, yet any convention that we are called, we will never miss. Madam Speaker, our priorities must be checked. Madam Speaker, environment is also a cause for concern. Madam Speaker, we know that there is climate change. We've all seen the change pattern in our climate. The rains that used to start in June, July, and August, now they don't come until September. What are we doing about it? Can we not task ourselves to at least plant trees, a certain number of trees every year? Can we not try to improve on our environment, invest on our environment, try to give it an uplift, invest on it? It is something that we must not underestimate. It will make a big difference, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when we go to Women Affairs, we should applaud the government for creating a separate Ministry of Women Affairs. Creating is one thing, but empowering is something else. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Women Affairs is a new ministry. It was under the Office of the Vice President. The Office of the Vice President has seen an increment in their budget. I would have thought that it would have seen a reduction because the Women Affairs has been taken from it, and that allocation moved to the Women Affairs to further strengthen that department. Madam Speaker, I will leave the specifics for Friday so that we will know where to cut and again where to move it. But like I said, the health, agriculture, education, youth and sports are of significance, Madam Speaker. And we also need, like my honorable colleagues have already mentioned, to look at the new benefit allocations, the new appointments in the budget, and make sure that nothing of those are approved, because we are already being swollen by debt that is not sustainable. And Madam Speaker, I will not sit and not mention the aspect of expenditure in this budget. It seems that most of it is lumped on the current expenditure, which surprisingly saw a reduction of 10%. That is something I cannot understand. If everything is lumped, yet 10% reduction, is there not a catch somewhere? And then again, personal expenditure increased by 6.4%. That 6.4% must not be included. I think those are the new positions and the new benefits, and I think they must all go in order for us to bridge the deficit gap. That is what we need to do. We've been consistently going under a deficit budget. Is that how a country wants to go? I am not saying that we must have a balanced budget, because I think that is impossible. But then we should work towards reducing the deficit, not towards increasing it year in, year out. Budget deficit was widened in 2020 by 5.6% compared to 4.17%. And this again runs counter to the minister's budget statement last year, when he said we are going to work on reducing it. So I am asking the minister, why would he come and tell us something and then go out there and do something? We appreciate that he's trying, but try harder to reduce it. The sustainability of the budget, Madam Speaker, again, it is a cause for concern. The best way I think that I can analyze the budget is as a percentage of the GDP. And both total revenue and grants, like my previous honorable colleagues have said, both declined compared to 2019. And yet, our expenditure increased. I'm like, one would expect that inflows from the 1.7 million, as I said, would have come. But then again, they never came. And yet, we are still banking our hopes on donors, on grants. Should we not be realistic? I think we should look more on tax and non-tax, even though the non-tax income is insignificant. It grew drastically. So why don't we look into tapping at that more to ensure that we work more on that and make more benefit on that? Because those are the only secured income guaranteed that we have. So why don't we work on them? Budget support is lower than expected. Is it because, again, of fiscal indiscipline? I think before we bank on budget support, let us clean up our house. Make sure we adhere to the commitments. Make sure we are working towards fulfilling conditions precedent to draw down. If I run my home with $1, go to the market with $1, and expect to come home with goods worth $10, is that realistic? That would only encourage corruption and incompetence. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.